I'm continuing my discussion of the practical benefits of Christianity. And another benefit of it is that it helps us to cope well with suffering and with death. Now, death is something that comes to us in any case. Everybody's got to cope with it. And Christianity gives you a way of coping that I think is much better than if you are approaching death, you may say, unequipped. Time magazine some years ago reported on a case of a woman who had a series of tragedies, and these tragedies piled up one on top of the other. They were almost hard to believe. Her husband was laid off. She had a miscarriage. A month later, her first cousin was diagnosed with cancer. Then 2 hurricanes struck her hometown. And finally, one of her best friends died of a brain tumor. This would be enough to cause a normal person to just give up. But here's what the woman is quoted saying in Time magazine. This is what struck me, and I underlined it. She goes, "We're putting our lives in God's hands and trusting He has our best interests at heart. I've clung to my faith more than ever this year. As a consequence, I haven't lost my joy." That's that last sentence that caught my attention. She hasn't lost her joy. Well, joy under these conditions is not really natural. And this is the woman's point, that only the supernatural can produce enduring joy in the face of life's tragedies. When we're in pain, feeling hopeless, Christianity lifts our spirits. We don't know why we are in this situation, what caused this. And of course, lots of people go, well, why did God do this to me? Why did He allow this to happen? But even if you don't know the reason that it happened, it is consoling to realize, hey, there is a reason. Even if I don't know what it is, God knows what it is. So it's not that the reason doesn't exist. It's simply unknown to me. Maybe human knowledge is too limited and fallible to know it. But that doesn't mean that divine knowledge, the God's eye perspective, doesn't know what that reason is. Maybe God is trying to teach us something. Maybe He wants to draw us closer to Him by intimating to us a sense of our mortality. Christianity gives us the hope that when someone dies, we will see that person again. Then there is, of course, the matter of our own death. Now, ordinarily, we do our best to avoid thinking about the subject. Mortality is not exactly a popular subject of conversation. Many of us have a certain anxiety or resistance to going to funerals. Why? Not just because it is, well, there are people over there and this guy died, but it's like, well, that guy died. Well, that's going to happen to me one day. So funerals remind us of our own extinction and the notion that we will one day cease to exist. Well, it's a source of anxiety and terror. In fact, there is a train of philosophical discussion, I think culminating in the 20th century philosopher Heidegger, talking about how death produces in human beings, even while they are alive, this ongoing sense of uneasiness. And this uneasiness becomes a definitional feature of human life because we are mortal and because of the inevitability of death. And then you have this really strange saying by Paul in the Bible. He writes, quote, "O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory?" Wow. How can you adopt that kind of what seems to be almost a ridiculous, even a flippant attitude? Well, for Christians, it's because death is a temporal end, yes, but it's not the final end. So the secular person says, you got 2 stages. You got life and you got death. But for the Christian, there are really 3. There is life, there is death, but there is also the life to come. So this is why for the Christian, death is not so terrifying. And finally, Christianity enables us to become better people. It enables us to become the better people that presumably we all want to be, because the decent and honorable things that we do are no longer just a matter of thankless routine. I'm doing it out of habit. I'm doing it out of duty. This isn't just a morality that I made up for myself. Rather, I'm pursuing a higher destiny as human beings. I'm becoming what human beings are meant to be. So Christianity doesn't just make us aspire to be better, but it shows us how to be better. So in marriage, for example, Christianity teaches that marriage isn't just a contract. It isn't just a bargain. It is, in fact, a sacrament. It is a covenant. And a covenant is something that goes beyond a bargain. Why? Because it goes beyond the 2 parties involved. It's actually a covenant with the 2 parties, but also with God. So the operating principle of Christian marriage, and this really should be the operating principle of Christian life, is the notion of agape. Some people say agape. It is sacrificial love. And the basic idea here is that families function better, marriages function better, life functions better when you love someone by looking out for what it is good for them to be or what it is good for them to do. You're looking out for the good of the other person. A lot of times when people talk about love or being in love, they don't mean that. They mean what's in it for me. But Christian love is what's good for the other person that you are supposedly in love with or that you love. Now, so agape isn't really human love. It is God's love shining through us. It's a bountiful resource. It's available for the asking. The way that you get it is called prayer. You ask for it. Ask and you shall receive. And when you make agape the ground of your marriage, your relationships, you find that the whole system works better and you are a lot happier as a result.